Avatar: The Way of Water. You know, with all the people over the last couple of years saying, no one cares. It's gonna be a bust. No one's gonna go see it. You know, all that kind of stuff. And for years we've been saying, do not be in the doubting James Cameron business. This movie's going to be a hit. And even some people like me who still knew it was going to be a hit, it's even exceeded my expectations. Like I expected it to top out at about 1.7, but like at the top end, but it's already exceeded even those expectations. The movie just continues to roll. We talked, of course, last week where it became the number 7 biggest film in the history of Hollywood. Well, now, according to Variety, Avatar: The Way of Water has officially now passed Spider-Man: No Way Home for the number 6 film of all time. It has now officially crossed the $1.92 billion mark, which, excuse me, moves it just past and nudges Spider-Man out of the way down into 7th spot. Now, let's go over and take a look at the top list of all time here. Now, this list hasn't been updated yet because up until today, Avatar, as you can see down there, was in the number 7 spot, right? At 1.91. It is now up over 1.92. It's over 1.921, which pushes it past Spider-Man: No Way Home. So Spider-Man: No Way Home, which has been now nudged down to the number 7 spot of all time. Still, whoever saw Spider-Man: No Way Home making $1.9 billion at the box office. Absolutely incredible. So The Way of Water, yet another accomplishment for it, moves into the number 6 spot. Now, sitting about, what are we talking? 125 million? About 125 million, 127 million behind Avengers: Infinity War for it to crack into the top 5. Which again, even the people who were optimistic about Avatar: The Way of Water and who knew it would be a hit, like me, did not necessarily think it would crack that all-time top 5. And now it's got Avengers: Infinity War in its sights. Now, it's never going to catch Avengers Endgame. It's never going to catch the first Avatar, all that kind of stuff. I even have severe doubts it's going to catch Titanic. But I mean, look, it's got Avengers: Infinity War in its sights next. After that, it's not too much further along to catch up to Star Wars Episode 4, The Force Awakens. Anyway, Rob, I feel like every day there's a new milestone being set, a new hurdle being jumped by Avatar: The Way of Water. It's now officially past Spider-Man. What stands out to you?
That it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Big Jimmy C back, taking the throne. The trifecta, top 5 of those movies is going to be one of his every step of the way. You know, what is it? He would have 5, 3, and 1.
If it catches Avengers: Infinity War,
yeah,
he will have the number 5 all-time movie with Avatar 2, the number 3 all-time movie with Titanic, and the number 1 all-time movie with. Look, I know we've said it before. You don't underplay this, people. One man would have 3 of the top 5. Right now, one man has 3 of the top 6.
Well,
I mean, now pretty soon it's going to be 3 of the top 5, all by one guy.
And you think about it. I mean, one dude and his movies, $7 billion. I mean, $1 billion. I don't think people quite understand. $1 billion's a lot. I mean, it's a lot more than $1 million. A lot more. It's a lot more than 100 million. It's a lot more than 500 million. It's a lot.
We're now heading into the Myers math classroom.
I mean, it's
1 billion is more than 1 million.
It's a lot, man. I mean, but that's a huge. I mean, there are not very many movies that have made $1 billion in the world, just in the entire history of humanity. But one dude to make 3, I don't think that will ever happen again in all of human history, to be honest.
Well, 3 in the $2 billion.
Well, yeah, 3 in the 2, but yes, that's what I mean. 3 in the 2 billion or 3 billion range, and he's going to do it again in 2024.
Yeah. Now it's important for everybody to realize that week after week, while it has had incredible legs, its returns are shrinking and shrinking, as all films do. Yeah. And, you know, but man, that top 5, I mean, 2 billion is still clearly in its marks. Avengers: Infinity War is clearly in sight.
And this is despite him saying no one will see it because it's too long. Like his own genius marketing.
What I find so
reverse
interesting,
psychology.
Yeah.
You know, is why. You know, I think what is it about? And I mean, I think just the way, for whatever reason, the man, he knows how to make films, but he also appeals to, because there's all these people, well, you know, Avatar doesn't have much of a pop culture presence. And yes, it does. I mean, clearly it does. It doesn't have like the merchandising. It doesn't have the extended universe, but now it kind of does.
Well, now it does. See, here's the thing. While I've always said this movie's going to be a hit, it's going to succeed, I happen to agree with the people who say that Avatar has not, because it hasn't. It has not had a sustained pop cultural presence, right? Like, and that's
because it was a one-off,
right? But people thought that just because it didn't have an active pop cultural presence, like you still see Heath Ledger's Joker costumes at Halloween, you still see Star Wars all over the place, blah, right? But people thought that just because it didn't have an active pop cultural presence, that it was going to flop. And I think both could be true. I think on the one hand, it hasn't had a sustained pop cultural presence per se over the past 12 years, but because it's still James Cameron, the first Avatar didn't have any pop cultural presence either before it came out. And it's the number one film of all time. And that's where I think the confusion came in.
But I think that all these other things have these huge, ongoing, decades-long legacies of, it's not just, I mean, Avatar was only a one-off movie.
Yeah.
You know, and all the things that do have a pop culture presence, for the most part, are part of a franchise or have multiple films. Whereas Avatar only had one, and it did what it was supposed to do. Came out, most successful movie of all time, and went away. But now, dude, they just announced, they made one Avatar hot toy of Jake Sully. They announced this week that they're going to do Jake again and Neytiri and the birds that they fly on.
Oh, those would look awesome.
Dude, insane. And I'm like, I don't know how much those are going to cost. I mean, I hope
it's going to be huge at 6 scale.
Huge. I mean, they're giants.
But they're not going to come out till Avatar 4, probably.
Until 2024. And I hope they haven't announced the birds, whatever they're called, the dragons. I forget the name. But amazing.
Chris, again, it's another milestone for Avatar: The Way of Water. Where does it stop?
It's crossing 2 billion. It really is. I absolutely think this. I've been saying it for the past few years. It's going to hit that mark. And also, I would argue that it is part of like that pop cultural zeitgeist. There's parody porn of Avatar.
Well,
if you get a parody
that is
porn
the
made
litmus
of you,
test, right?
Yeah, you have lasting effects then.
As long as you should see what they do with their tails in that. Yeah, that's pretty. But seriously, like, it continues to climb. Look, I didn't think anything was gonna hit Spider-Man No Way Home for a while. Like when that hit 1.9 billion, which blew everybody's minds, I thought, well, that's going to be untouched for a while, maybe until the next Avengers movie comes out. But here we are. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Avatar: The Way of Water has now passed Spider-Man No Way Home into the number 6 spot. It's now zeroing in on Avengers Infinity War at $2.04 billion. Can it get there? It's got to get to $2 billion first. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, MasterClass. MasterClass offers classes on a wide variety of topics, all taught by world-class instructors at the very top of their fields. Each class is broken out into individual video lessons, usually around 10 minutes long. And MasterClass is completely accessible on your phone, the web, smart TV, and available via audio mode to listen to classes on the go. They have over 2,500 video lessons from over 180 of today's most brilliant minds. They're all available anytime, anywhere on iOS, Android, desktop, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku. Now, obviously around here on the John Campea Show, we love our movies, so why not learn filmmaking from Jodie Foster, or maybe directing from Ron Howard himself, or the great Neil Gaiman doing his masterclass on the art of storytelling. And you guys have heard me talk about my favorite masterclass, Business Strategy and Leadership by Big Papa Iger himself, Bob Iger, the new and returning CEO of Disney. Guys, I highly recommend that you check it out. This holiday, give the perfect gift of an annual Masterclass membership and get one free. Go to masterclass.com/Campea today. That's masterclass.com/Campea. Terms apply.